God is warning you about a person whose name starts with the initial D. Stay calm when you hear their name. The truth may be revealed. Open this within the next 3 days before this warning fades away. What is about to be uncovered could change everything. Don't ignore this. Be watchful concerning someone whose name begins with the letter J. For the time has come for what was once hidden to step into the light so that you no longer continue living in uncertainty. I say this not to sow suspicion in you toward everyone, nor do I want you to become alarmed whenever a familiar name comes to mind. I only want you to slow down, observe more carefully, and not give your trust too quickly to someone, merely because they know how to speak pleasant words. Some truths do not appear at the beginning, because time must pass before a person's true motives are revealed. When that moment comes, do not see it as a disaster, but understand that I am helping you recognize what needs to be recognized. Before your peace is wounded more deeply, the person connected with that letter may not be a stranger. It may be someone who once entered your life with an appearance of closeness, someone who seemed to understand the things you cared about, and perhaps even made you believe that they always desired what was best for you. But my beloved child, closeness does not always mean sincerity. Some people draw near because they love, but others draw near in order to discover what you are thinking, what you are preparing, and where you are most vulnerable. Therefore, I do not want you to judge them in anger, nor do I want you to confront them hastily before clarity has come. I want you to keep your heart calm and allow the truth to speak for itself through their actions, attitudes, and choices when there is nothing left for them to gain from you. Recently, you have likely felt many times that something was no longer the same. A sentence that seemed ordinary left a heaviness within you. A brief conversation was enough to make you feel guarded. There were times when you blamed yourself, believing you were too sensitive, and tried to ignore the small signals appearing before you. But I want you to understand that healthy uneasiness does not always come to frighten you. Sometimes it comes to make you pause before taking another step into a relationship that is no longer safe. Even so, do not turn every feeling into evidence of guilt. Discernment does not act on assumptions. It observes patiently, knows how to wait, and makes decisions only when the signs have become clear. You have always treated others sincerely, so at times you assume they view everything with the same heart you have. That very kindness makes it easy for you to explain away behavior that should be examined more seriously. You often tell yourself, they did not mean it, that they were tired, or that you should give them another chance. I love the compassion within you, but I do not want your goodness to become an open door to disrespect. Forgiveness does not mean allowing someone to repeat the same behavior without limits. Love does not require you to remain in a place where your peace is gradually worn away each day. You can keep your heart pure and still step back. You can refuse resentment while still closing a door that no longer belongs to your journey. When that name is confirmed, do not let surprise steal your composure. What matters is not how quickly you react, but whether you preserve your dignity and discernment. Do not rush to send bitter words. Do not try to shame them, and do not tell the story to too many people merely to gain agreement. Some victories come when you no longer feel the need to explain yourself to someone who has already chosen to misunderstand you. Let distance say what arguments cannot say. Let your consistency protect you from useless conflict. A sincere person will respect your boundaries, but someone who only wants to control you will become uncomfortable. when they can no longer easily access your thoughts, plans, and emotions. I also want you to look back at yourself without shame. If you once trusted the wrong person, that does not mean you are weak or lacking wisdom. Some lessons only become clear after you have lived through them. What is needed is not self-condemnation, but growth from what has happened. Ask yourself what this relationship has produced in you: peace or tension, stability or confusion, freedom or a constant need to prove your worth. A sincere person may not be perfect, but they will not make you live continually on guard. They will not use silence as punishment. Take advantage of what you shared in a vulnerable moment, or appear only when they need something from you. What is being exposed is not meant to push you into isolation, but to make room for healthier relationships to enter. Sometimes I must help you see one person clearly before you are able to receive the right person. A closing door may cause grief, but that sorrow will pass when you realize what you were being protected from. I am not taking a genuine bond away from you. I am only leading you out of a place where your sincerity was not valued. Therefore, do not hold on to a relationship simply because you fear beginning again. Temporary emptiness is still better than remaining beside someone who slowly causes you to lose yourself. From now on, be more private with plans that have not yet taken shape, more careful with personal matters, and slower to believe promises that sound too beautiful. Not everything you are building needs to be known by everyone. Some seeds grow only when they are kept in quietness, protected from examining eyes and unnecessary discussion. You do not need to become cold. You only need to understand that trust should be given step by step, based on consistency rather than temporary emotion. The person worthy of being close to you will not pressure you to open your heart, make you feel guilty for needing space, or turn your kindness into an obligation. When you recognize who the person connected with the letter J is, let the truth lead you into peace rather than hatred. I do not want you to spend the rest of your life looking backward. I want you to learn what must be learned, establish what must be established, and continue forward with a lighter heart. This situation has no authority to define your future. One dishonest person cannot dim the value I have placed within you. You are still worthy of love, worthy of respect, and worthy of relationships that are pure. Trust the clarity that is coming, but remember that true clarity always comes with calmness, compassion, and self-control. I am teaching you to discern without becoming bitter, to remain watchful without panic, and to become strong without hardening your heart. When the truth appears, you will no longer have to guess or wonder whether you are imagining too much. What once seemed disconnected will begin to fit together, and you will understand why I repeatedly caused you to slow down. Receive that understanding with gratitude, because seeing early is a form of protection. You do not need to run away, nor do you need to fight in ways that wound others. Simply stand firm, maintain your boundaries, protect your peace, and allow each next step to be guided by wisdom. I am near you throughout this process, and what is revealed will not destroy you. It will release you from a bond you have carried longer than necessary. I placed within you a heart that knows how to trust, treat others kindly, and choose to see the good in people before imagining the ways they might hurt you. That is not weakness, nor is it something for which you should feel ashamed, because that purity is a precious part of who you are. Yet I want you to understand that kindness is truly preserved only when it walks together with discernment. There are moments when you must slow down, set emotion aside for a while, and look at a relationship according to what it is actually showing you, rather than only according to what you once hoped it would become. Not everyone who entered your life was appointed to walk with you until the end, and not every beautiful beginning is evidence of a good outcome. The name beginning with J will not feel unfamiliar to you. When it comes to mind, you may immediately remember someone who was once very close, someone you trusted, or someone who had a significant influence over your choices. Because of that familiarity, I am preparing your heart now. I do not want you to react in panic, nor do I want a single emotional moment to destroy the peace you spent so long rebuilding. When the truth appears, what you need is not a quick reaction, but a mind quiet enough to know what should be said, what should remain unspoken, and which step should be taken. Calmness will help you see far more clearly than confrontations spoken in anger. I know there were many times when you sensed that something was wrong, but then told yourself that perhaps you were overthinking. You did not want to hurt anyone, and you did not want a small suspicion to destroy the harmony you had worked hard to preserve. Therefore, you often chose silence, overlooked inconsistent behavior, and found reasons to explain things on behalf of the other person. There were things you saw, but did not want to name truthfully. There were words that hurt you, but you told yourself they had not intended it. There were actions that fractured your trust, yet you kept trying to repair it with your compassion. I understand why you did this, because you always wanted peace, but true peace is not created by repeatedly denying what you are recognizing. I am not telling you to suspect everyone, nor do I want you to isolate yourself behind cold walls. I am simply sharpening discernment within you, so that you may know who should be allowed to come close, and who should remain at an appropriate distance. Discernment does not make you bitter. On the contrary, it enables you to love without losing yourself, to be generous without giving others unrestricted access to the most private parts of your life. A door has a lock, not because the house is filled with hatred, but because precious things inside need to be protected. Your life is the same. The plans I am building, the peace I am restoring, and the hope growing within you all deserve to be guarded from hands that do not know how to value them. Throughout the recent season, there has been a repeated pattern you once dismissed. That person may say one thing and do another. They may appear deeply attentive when they need you, then grow cold when you need sincerity from them. They may seem caring in your presence, but speak differently when you are absent. At times, they may cause you to question your own perceptions, persuading you that every problem exists because you are too sensitive or expect too much, my beloved child. Remember that a healthy relationship does not require you to continually deny yourself in order to preserve it. A sincere person may make mistakes, but they know how to listen, take responsibility, and refuse to turn your kindness into a tool for their own benefit. The letter J is not given so that you may accuse others merely because of their names. It is only a reminder to pay attention to what has been revealed over time. Do not quickly place everyone whose name begins with that letter into the same category, because wisdom does not act through prejudice. Observe what a person's presence produces in your life. When you are near them, are you respected? Are you free to speak the truth? Must you continually remain cautious, guess what they mean, and fear that something private will be used against you? The answer is not found in the name, but in the consistency of behavior. I want you to look at what is concrete, rather than be led by temporary emotion. What is about to become clear will not create an entirely true truth. It will only confirm what you have sensed for a long time, but did not yet have the courage to admit. When the pieces come together, you will understand why certain conversations left you exhausted, why some promises never became reality, and why you always felt you had to work harder to preserve a relationship that was not being nurtured by both sides. Do not condemn yourself for recognizing it late. Some lessons can only be learned after you have watched long enough to distinguish between a single mistake and an established pattern. What matters is not how much time you lost, but whether you are willing to honor the truth from this day forward. I have always remained near you in every encounter you believed you had to manage alone. I saw other smiles that did not carry goodwill, the questions used to gather information, and the silences designed to make you feel guilty. These things may have been beyond your sight, but they were never beyond my awareness. Yet I did not reveal everything immediately, because you needed to mature enough to receive the truth without being overwhelmed by it. Some things, if revealed too early, would only cause you to act from your wounds, but when you have become steadier, the same truth becomes a key that releases you from confusion. Remember that protection does not always come through a door slamming shut, a violent separation, or an event that changes everything in a single day. Often, protection begins with a very small awareness. You no longer believe words without seeing actions. You no longer tell every plan to anyone who appears interested, and you no longer chase after a relationship that only you are trying to preserve. These quiet changes are how you reclaim authority over your peace. You do not need to announce loudly that you have understood everything. Simply adjust the distance, maintain the boundary, and allow others to reveal themselves through the way they react. When you no longer satisfy everything they want, when that name is mentioned, or the matter is confirmed, breathe slowly and remember that you have been prepared. Do not allow disappointment to turn you into someone unfamiliar. To your own good nature, you may be hurt without taking revenge. You may grieve without humiliating another person. You may walk away without carrying resentment. The purpose of truth is not to make you so hard that you can no longer trust anyone, but to teach you to give trust in the right place, at the right time, and one step at a time. Let others prove sincerity through time, because a promise can be made in seconds, but faithfulness is revealed through choices repeated every day. I am building things in your life that require a clean foundation, confidence that does not depend on praise, peace that is not controlled by the attitudes of others, and a future no longer bound to relationships that drain you. Therefore, do not mourn when truth forces you to change how you see someone. You may be losing an image you once believed in, but you are receiving freedom to live according to what you have recognized. A painful truth for a short time is still better than an illusion that wounds you for years. You are not alone in this transition. I will teach you when to remain silent, when to speak clearly, when to offer another opportunity, and when to close a path. You do not need to decide everything in a single moment. Allow the situation to reveal itself fully, but do not continue overlooking what has repeated too many times. I do not want you to live through fear. I want you to live through understanding. When truth arrives, you will recognize that it did not come to destroy you, but to protect the good things being formed in your life. Keep your heart tender, your mind alert, and continue walking in peace, because nothing being exposed can surprise me, and you will no longer be swept into the darkness of uncertainty. You are passing through an important milestone of maturity where you learn to honor the deep awareness I quietly placed within your heart long ago. In the past, there were moments when you sensed something was wrong, but quickly dismissed it because you feared you were thinking too much. You doubted your own perception and assumed the hesitation within you was only a moment of weakness or the result of old wounds that had not been fully healed. But I want you to understand that not every warning comes with a loud sound. Some guidance appears as a very slight heaviness in the heart, a hesitation that prevents you from moving forward, even though everything outwardly appears fine. Maturity begins when you no longer immediately reject these signals, but know how to pause, consider, and observe with a calm mind. I did not allow you to walk without guidance. Even in the seasons when you felt most confused, there was still a gentle understanding quietly holding you back from unwise choices. You may not always have known what to call it, but you were protected many times through a delayed decision, an unexpected cancellation, a plan that could not be carried out, or a feeling that kept you from sharing too much of yourself. Now I am making that awareness clearer, not so that you live in constant suspicion, but so that you learn to distinguish between true peace and false calm. Some silences appear peaceful, but are only unspoken problems. Some relationships continue, not because they are healthy, but because you have patiently endured what needed to be acknowledged. The person connected with the letter J once held a certain place in your journey. Their role may have brought a lesson, a season of closeness, or an influence that changed how you viewed yourself and others. I do not deny that good things may once have existed. Not every memory was false, nor does every sincere moment need to be erased simply because new truth is appearing. Yet you must understand that a person can belong to one season and no longer belong to the next stage of your journey. What once helped you grow can become what holds you back if you continue clinging to it after its season has ended. The truth that is coming does not deny the past. It helps you recognize the limit of that person's role and move forward without remaining bound to what no longer carries meaning. When clarity appears, do not allow fear to control the way you think. Fear causes you to reach hasty conclusions, react excessively, and imagine things that have not happened. My guidance, however, always brings you back to alertness. Even if what is exposed saddens you, there will still be a deep quietness within, as though what you sensed for a long time has finally been given its proper name. Peace does not mean you will feel no pain. Peace means you retain clarity in the middle of pain, refusing to let disappointment make you bitter, and refusing to let one wound close your heart to every sincere person. I want you to stand firmly in the truth without losing your compassion. You are being shown these things because you have become mature enough to face them. I did not bring the truth while you were still too fragile to distinguish between releasing someone and losing your own value. Had the matter been exposed earlier, you might have blamed yourself, tried to hold on, or done everything possible to change the other person. But now you understand that you cannot heal a relationship through one-sided sacrifice. You cannot transform dishonesty into sincerity merely by being more patient. You also cannot keep someone beside you by minimizing your needs, remaining silent before what is wrong, and accepting what makes your heart increasingly heavy. I have taught you that kindness does not mean abandoning boundaries, and love never requires you to live continually in uneasiness. There is a reason this moment is opening now. You are approaching a new stage where what I am building must rest upon a stronger foundation. The plans ahead, the new relationships, and the greater responsibilities will require you to know who is truly trustworthy. If the truth continues to remain hidden, you may carry an unhealthy relationship into a place where it could cause greater damage. Therefore, what is happening is not a disturbance, but an act of protection. I am helping you see before you give more influence, before you share important plans, and before you place your future into the hands of someone who has not proven faithful. What has remained hidden for too long will not be able to stay silent, because its results will speak clearly before your eyes. There are behaviors you once explained through kindness, and moments you told yourself were mere misunderstandings. But when the same conduct continues repeating, you must have the courage to see it for what it truly is. I do not want you to live in suspicion, but neither do I want you to use compassion to cover signs that are becoming increasingly clear. When words and actions continually move in opposite directions, when someone is gentle only when they need something from you, and when their presence makes you feel more guarded than rested, it is no longer an isolated incident. It is time to pause and be honest with yourself. I know you chose silence many times because you did not want conflict. You tried to keep everything peaceful, even though there were unnamed places of uneasiness within you. You feared that if you spoke, others would accuse you of being too sensitive, too difficult, or not generous enough. Therefore, you minimized your feelings and yielded another step, then another, merely to prevent the relationship from breaking. But my beloved child, harmony cannot be built when one person must always remain silent while the other is free to repeat what causes harm. Peace that demands you continually deny your perceptions is only a calm surface, concealing heavy currents beneath. I saw every opportunity you gave. I know how many times you chose forgiveness, how often you waited for change, and how many times you told yourself to be patient a little longer. None of the good you have done has become meaningless. That patience revealed the beauty of your heart. A heart unwilling to condemn quickly and always hoping others could become better. But I need to teach you that mercy does not mean abandoning wisdom. You must not call endless suffering love. You also do not need to keep giving opportunities to someone who receives them without ever changing how they live. An apology has value only when it is followed by responsibility. A promise is trustworthy only when it is demonstrated through consistent choices. If every conversation ends with regret, but everything then returns to the same pattern, you must recognize that you are being kept inside a cycle. Each time you forgive without boundaries, the other person becomes more convinced they do not need to change. Each time you overlook something serious because you fear losing them, you teach yourself that your peace matters less than their presence. I do not want you to continue living that way. You can forgive and still step back. You can preserve a pure heart and still close the door that has repeatedly been used to bring sorrow into your life. Look back on everything with alertness, but do not let alertness become bitterness. You do not need to confront them immediately in anger, nor do you need to create an argument to force them to admit everything. Some people will not tell the truth even when it stands directly before them. Some accept responsibility only when they fear losing control, then later return to the same old way. Therefore, do not place your freedom in their confession. You do not need them to agree that you were wounded before your pain becomes real. You do not need them to acknowledge your boundary before that boundary becomes legitimate. What you need is to see clearly, choose wisely, and protect the peace I am restoring within you. Allow time to do its work. Observe how a person reacts when you no longer meet every request. See whether they remain gentle when you say no, whether they continue respecting you when you need distance, and whether they remain honest when there is nothing left for them to receive from you. A sincere person will not feel offended by your caution. They understand that trust must be built and that boundaries are not a rejection of love, but a way of preserving what is healthy. In contrast, someone who only wants control will become uncomfortable. When you begin to have a voice, they may make you feel guilty, use silence to punish you, or create pressure to return you to your former position. In those moments, the nature of the relationship will gradually be revealed. You must also notice how they speak about people who are not present. Someone who continually belittles others before you may speak about you in the same way when you turn away. Observe how they keep their word, how they take responsibility when wrong, and how they treat those who offer them no advantage. These seemingly small things often reveal truth more clearly than grand promises. Do not allow one sweet sentence to make you forget many inconsistent actions. Do not allow one kind moment to erase an entire pattern that has repeated for too long. I want you to see the whole picture rather than only what is most comfortable. The watchfulness I am teaching you is not a life of suspicion. I do not want you to see everyone as a threat, nor do I want you to close yourself to sincere relationships. I only want you to understand that trust is a precious gift, and precious gifts should not be given hastily. You do not need to search for mystical signs or force every event into the shape of a warning. Look at the long-term fruit. A good relationship will help you become more peaceful, freer, and more stable. An unhealthy relationship will cause you to continually doubt yourself, feel the need to explain, please, and remain cautious in order to avoid an unpredictable reaction. The person whose name is connected with the letter J may appear within this lesson, but do not allow one letter to make you judge anyone before clarity is present. I am not teaching you to conclude from a name. I am teaching you to recognize through behavior. Do not turn the reminder into prejudice or use it to create unnecessary fear. What I want you to do is calmly observe the person who is truly present in your life. Do they respect your words? Do they stand with the truth when doing so costs them something? Do they protect what you shared in confidence? Do they rejoice when you grow, or are they comfortable only when you remain easy to influence? Those answers matter more than any name. I am bringing you into a new place of freedom where you no longer need to betray the awareness within you merely to keep someone beside you. You once feared that establishing boundaries would make you cold, but now you will understand that proper boundaries are an expression of maturity. You were not created to become the place where others pour out every instability and then walk away as if nothing happened. You are also not responsible for rescuing someone who refuses to take responsibility for their own choices. You can love from a safe distance. You can desire good for them without allowing them to determine the rhythm of your life, your emotions, or your value. Do not act from pain. When your heart is touched, give yourself time in quietness before speaking or deciding. Choices made in anger often create things you must repair later. I want you to respond with clarity rather than the desire for revenge. You do not need to hurt someone else in order to prove that they hurt you. You do not need to tell the story to everyone In order to find people who will take your side, preserve your dignity. Say what needs to be said calmly, and leave conversations designed only to pull you back into the old cycle. Purposeful silence can sometimes be more powerful than hundreds of explanations. I am not leading you into panic, but into awakening. What is being revealed does not come to make you smaller, but to help you reclaim the strength you once placed in the wrong hands. You are learning to keep a tender heart without being easily exploited, to forgive without denying the truth, and to move forward without carrying resentment. You do not need to become closed because one person failed to value you. Preserve your kindness, but from now on, place it beneath the guidance of wisdom. When everything becomes clear, you will understand that I prepared you beforehand. The moments of hesitation, the times you felt no peace, and the questions that arose in the quiet of night, all helped you examine your journey. You will no longer exchange truth for a temporary sense of calm. You will know that anyone permitted to remain must be someone who respects you, builds together with you, and does not cause you to lose yourself. Continue forward with a peaceful heart. A person's role in your life lasts only as far as wisdom allows, while your future remains under my guidance. You have been prepared, supported, and given enough strength to walk through this without losing your